It's a huge honor for me today on Memorial Day weekend to be podcast interviewing Bob Sommers. Happy Memorial Day, Bob.
It's right back to you, Howard. Thank you.
And gosh, you're out there where one of the big ones started out there in Hawaii. You're in Kihei, Maui,
Right.
Hawaii.
That's
Kihei,
right.
Maui, Hawaii.
That's correct.
And I've lectured at Hawaii a half dozen times, and I think four of the seven were in Maui.
Yeah.
But by Lahaina, it was the God, what's the name of that big resort? It's like Grand
Oh,
Hyatt, Hilton,
the
Master,
Grand Hyatt. Yeah,
the
I'm
Grand
sure.
Hyatt.
Yeah.
And I was there one day, and it was one of my most memorable lectures because Gordon Christian was in the audience, and he's like the god of dentistry. And the back of the room was these tall windows, and we could see the whales
Oh, yeah.
in the water.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a freak show. And
Tough life.
oh my God. And then the
Yeah.
most adorable thing is that all during the lecture, all these little kids in swimsuits were coming in asking their dad for
Yeah.
something or getting information. So they're just kids going in and out all day. It was like,
Oh man.
uh,
Hey, did you know, by the way, the whole time the whales are here, they don't eat anything? Did you know that?
they just breed?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know why they
No,
don't
no,
eat while they're in Maui,
no.
Howard? Because the food's so expensive here.
Do they really not eat in Hawaii?
No, no, they don't. They eat, they go back up to Alaska where they eat, and then they breed down here. So and they raise their young. So and they're here for they come say October through December, January. It's
Now,
pretty.
those are the big blue whales, right?
They're the
And
humpback whales,
the humpback whales are in the winter,
right?
and then the big blue whales are in the summer.
No, we don't get those guys. So they
Oh,
must
you don't
just
get
cruise right.
those?
Nope, nope, nope.
Just
So
the humpback.
just the humpbacks. Although
Huh.
I don't see that as a disappointing thing. It's just the humpbacks. That's okay.
Well,
And
aren't they like only half the size of the blue whales?
I don't know. I don't know. I know they're big, but the blue whales are enormous. And the other thing is, I go swimming most mornings, and when you're out there, when the whales are here, you can hear them, even though they're miles away underwater. It's kind of eerie.
Well, I had my most bizarre interspecies connection
This
with.
is going to be good, by the way.
I
So go
mean,
on.
I'm telling you, this is one of the freakiest things that ever happened to me in my life. So one of the times we're out there, where we take a whaling cruise,
Yeah.
and we go out there and really fun and everything. And this guy's telling us that it's really regulated and you can't get so close. And we finally stop, and then the whales turned and started swimming towards us.
Oh boy.
And he was on the deal saying, that this is a once in a lifetime deal, that he's done this for years, and we're getting this view. So then, if that wasn't enough, then this little baby whale, which is
Hmm.
probably, I don't know, 20 feet long, and its eye was the size of my head, comes away from the pack and swims around our boat twice.
Wow.
And this guy's just like, I've never seen this, I've never seen this. So anyway, this whale gets on the side of the boat, and he's just rolling over slowly. But when his eye would come out, he'd almost stop, and then he'd roll again. And so, like two or three times, I'm looking right in this baby's eye, and
Yeah.
out of nowhere, way off into the distance where the pod was, some big whale, lifted her butt out of the water and smacked the top of that water, and that baby just shot right back.
Wow.
And everybody in the boat just heard a whale mama say, "Get your
Wow.
butt back here right now before I beat you."
That's,
And
that's
it's
right.
just like, my
I've told you
God.
about Howard. I've warned you about that man. Get back here.
I mean, it was just like the hair was standing on your arm. I mean, if anybody ever told me that whales can't think, I'd say
Yeah.
you weren't there in Maui. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just like any family in America. It was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
exactly.
But hey, let's cut to the chase. The reason I got you on, I'm a huge fan of your several hundred posts on Dental Town. And dentistry, we go to school 8 years and we learn, geometry and physics and calculus and all this stuff. And then we get out and they say, "Oh, congratulations, you own a business." And we forgot to teach you anything about that.
Yeah.
And these dentists, all a dentist wants to do is do dentistry. They want to do
Right.
fillings and crowns and root canals, and they want the most messed up mouths that you could find in Maui, and we want to fix them. But
Yeah.
we can't fix them unless we get a new patient, and that's where you come
Right.
in.
Right.
And when I got out of school in '87, 3 decades ago, all the word of mouth was, at the bowling alley, the church, at the little league, whatever.
Yeah.
And now this word of mouth has gone digital. And you are so much smarter in this than me. I shouldn't even say another word. I should just let you rant. Why is it so hard to get a Google review, and what can dentists do about it?
Well, let's start with Google because I want to talk about Yelp and some of the other sites as well.
You can just I'm such a fan of your post. You could just lecture for the hour, and Ryan, you could tape my mouth shut.
That isn't going to happen. I could lecture for an hour, but I doubt I can see you working your way through that. All right. So let's start with Google. Google is the 800-pound gorilla. Now, if you're in downtown San Francisco, I get it. Yelp is a big deal. And Yelp is a much bigger deal for most dentists all over the country than the dentists actually understand. It's interesting, Howard. I would say, I'm going to start with Yelp. I would say that easily half the dentists that contact us to get Google and Yelp reviews hate Yelp. Now, Yelp, in my humble opinion, has a horrible method about going about getting new business. They're manipulative, they're intimidating, they're rude. I have heard atrocious stories from dentists who say, look, I have no need for Yelp. We don't have any Yelpers in my community, but here's what they don't know. There are Yelpers in their community, but let's say there's only one Yelper that's a patient. Well, and let's say that one Yelper writes a Yelp review. Now, what a lot of people don't know is people don't only go to Yelp to find dentists, but Yahoo shows Yelp reviews, Bing shows Yelp reviews. And if you have an Apple iPhone, what do you have, an iPhone or an Android, Howard? What do you have?
I have an iPhone.
Have you ever used Siri on your iPhone?
Yes.
Ask Siri when you get a chance, Siri, who's the best dentist in Phoenix? And Siri is going to give you the results based on your Yelp reviews. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And a lot of people don't. So you cannot ignore Yelp. Now, I want to give you a little rule of thumb because what I want to talk about today is how do you get Google reviews? How do you get Yelp reviews? How do you dominate the internet with the highest possible reputation? And the only way you're going to get that is through what your happy patients say about you. So here's the first rule of thumb. If you want Google reviews, and you do, ask your patients to review you on Google. If you want Yelp reviews, and you do, ask your patients to review you on Google. Now, that may sound kind of weird, but here's how it works. Yelp has a policy, and again, most dentists don't know this. And I look at these posts on Dental Town, and it's so interesting. I hate Yelp for this reason. I hate Yelp for that reason. I'm getting Yelp off my list, blah, blah, blah. I talked to Yelp. They filtered a whole bunch of my reviews. What these dentists don't know, Howard, is Yelp has a policy that says, do not ask people to go to Yelp to write a review, because if you do, we're going to filter those reviews. Now, they may filter them in 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, but if that person is a newbie, they're not considered an active Yelper, Yelp is going to filter their reviews. All right, that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing is this. Yelpers are the second most avid reviewers in the world. The first most avid reviewers have very little to do with dentistry. It's Angie's List. Angie's List people just write reviews. On the other hand, Yelp is the next most avid group of people that write reviews. So here's the thing. If you ask an avid Yelper, an active Yelper, if they will write a Google review for you, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to say, well, Howard, I'm a Yelper. Is it okay if I just leave a review on Yelp? And your answer, of course, would be that would be great. Or they're not going to tell you they're a Yelper. So what's going to happen is once you send them a review request, and we can talk more about how this works in a minute, whether it's text or email or both or whatever, when they see the potential choices, they can click on Google, but Yelp should always be a choice. Now, on our system, we have a warning that shows up next to Yelp, and here's what it says. It says, please, only leave a review on Yelp if you're an active Yelper and you already have an account. Otherwise, Yelp will filter your review. Now, if you're not a Yelper, you're like, oh my God, I'm staying away from there. I'm not going to take that risk. On the other hand, if you are a Yelper, even if you told the dentist, of course I'll write a review for you on Google, you're not going to Google. You look at that warning and laugh it off, and you go right to Yelp and you write a 5-star review, and it is going to stick. So the key to getting Yelp reviews is only have active Yelpers go to Yelp to write a review, and do not ask people to go to Yelp to write a review. Howard, it's amazing to me that I would say half of the people I work with, dentists, I look at their Yelp reviews. Half of them are filtered. Filtered. They have no idea why they're filtered. And I can look and see, for example, June 2015, 8 reviews were filtered. Well, I know for a fact
Okay, what does filtered mean?
well, what happens is on Yelp, when you go to Yelp, you'll see reviews show up. At the very bottom, Yelp will show you, here are some other reviews that are filtered or that are not publicly seen. So Yelp will take those reviews and hide them. Now, nobody is ever going to go and look at those hidden reviews. But when you all of a sudden go, Yahoo, I got a Yelp review, and then 2 days later it's gone, you're like, well, Yelp is screwing me. I'm not paying
But
money.
could you see that if you went down there and clicked it? I mean, on the Yelp where it says
Oh,
reviews.
sure.
Oh,
But
so a consumer could find them.
oh, yeah.
It'll
But
just take an extra step.
well, yes, and I would say maybe 1 in a billion consumers would actually do that. Nobody does that. Nobody looks at the filtered reviews other than the dentist who have them filtered. So that is the deal with Yelp. Now, here's the thing. If you are in a habit of asking people to go to Yelp and all of these reviews are getting filtered, you're building a reputation with Yelp that's not a good reputation, because Yelp is like, wow, we've got this policy, don't ask people to go to Yelp, and all we're doing is filtering your reviews because you're asking people to go to Yelp. We don't really trust you. So if you want Yelp reviews, the key is ask people to go to Google. And I know that is just so foreign to most people. The main thing you've got to do is let Yelpers go to Yelp. And do not let people go to Yelp who are not Yelpers, because it's so darn easy to write a Yelp review there. Now, I could go on about Yelp, but I'll tell you something else. All of these people that I notice on Dentaltown ranting and raving about Yelp, after they talk to me, they don't rant and rave about Yelp anymore, but they're not telling everybody else on Dentaltown what they're doing. I'm like, wow, you were just complaining a month ago. Tell everybody what you've just done. And they're like, no, I want my competitors to be upset with Yelp while I'm accumulating these Yelp reviews and building my reputation on Yelp, Yahoo, Bing, and Apple iPhone. You know, Yelp is enormous. So anyway, that's what I've got.
Can I back up
Sure.
one step? I think a lot of times, you know, like you're giving instructions for me to how to go from Phoenix to LA, and you're talking about Yelp reviews in LA. But a lot of the older guys are listening, saying, "I don't know anybody that uses Yelp." Is that because I'm 53 and I'm a grandpa and I got grandchildren, or is this just something millennials do? Do you have any data on who the heck uses that? And also another question is, I think the first review site I remember was that restaurant book guide I got in Manhattan. When you would go to Manhattan, there was some physical book that had reviews of restaurants. Do you remember that back in the day?
I do not. I do not.
But anyway,
No.
so for me, the first reviews I remember was actually little booklets in New York.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of other review sites that tailor to restaurants.
But back to Yelp. Is this just a millennial thing or some Generation Xers? Or do you really think the 50, 60-year-olds who are getting full mouth implant reconstruction are actually on Yelp?
I want to reword your question, Howard. Your question was, there are people that are like, does anybody ever go to Yelp? So I'm going to reword that. Does anybody ever use their iPhone? Now all of a sudden it's a very different answer, isn't it? Because Yelp is what iPhone users are going to see. So my point is, who cares if you have a patient that goes to Yelp to find a dentist? I don't care. There's a million more that go to Yahoo, a million more that go to Bing, and a billion more that go to Apple. So who cares if you don't have somebody that looks for a dentist on Yelp? But the only way you're going to be the highest rated, most trusted dentist on all of the other search engines, and for over half the population who has an iPhone, is to get Yelp reviews, because you can't leave Apple reviews. So you know what? You may, but I don't know the answer. But let's say if you're in San Francisco, most of your patients are going to be Yelpers. Most of them. I will find people in San Francisco with hundreds, maybe 100 Yelp reviews and no Google reviews, because it's downtown San Francisco. But let's go to North Platte, I don't even, is that in South or North Dakota? That's embarrassing. Wherever it is, it's not an urban area, but you might have one Yelper there, and that's all you need. One Yelper. One Yelper to give you a 5-star review, and now, sweet, you are glowing on Apple, you're glowing on Bing, you're glowing on Yelp. That's the key. And you don't have to get tons of Yelp reviews. Here's the other thing that a lot of folks aren't aware of. On Google, you have to have at least 5 reviews before Google's going to show stars at all. And if you get 5-star reviews on Google, Google's going to start you at like a 4.6 or a 4.7. Once you get to 12 Google reviews, Google's going to show that beautiful 5.0 star rating. And you can't get higher than that. Yelp will show a 5.0 star rating with 1 Yelp review. You just need that one sweet Yelper who you've not asked to write a Yelp review, who's going to go to Yelp and write you a review, to go to Yelp and write you that one review. And there's nothing Yelp is going to do about it. Oh, they didn't pay me $10,000 a month. You know what? That's a legitimate review by a legitimate Yelper. It is going to stick, and you're going to be benefiting from it greatly because of it. Did that answer your question, by the way?
Yes, it did. So Apple iPhone Siri has some exclusive deal with Yelp.
As does Yahoo, as does Bing. That is correct. And they're building partnerships all the time.
So they're forming a partnership to kind of be checks and balance with Google.
Yeah, I would say so.
Microsoft, Yahoo, and Apple.
Yeah.
So they have more negotiating leverage with Google probably.
Right, and Microsoft, you're right, that's Bing, that's exactly right. So now we've spent the first part of our time talking about Yelp. Let's go to the 800-pound gorilla, Google here, okay?
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say it was me. I'm not that bad. I am not 800 pounds.
Well, let's go to the 600-pound gorilla. Right? So here's the thing with Google. Google is the king. Now, there are so many awesome benefits of getting reviews, and I want to throw something out that most people never think of. Now, if I wrote a review for you, Howard, and that review was never seen publicly, the mere fact I wrote that review for you demonstrates to you that I am a fan. And as a fan, because only fans write 5-star reviews. That's it. If I'm not a fan, I'm not taking the time to write a 5-star review. There is a psychological principle, Robert Cialdini talks about these, it's called commitment consistency. When I take the effort to write a review for you, I am demonstrating to you that I am a fan, and I'm a fan for life. In my world, when someone writes a 5-star review for you, even if it is never seen, it is one of the most amazing things you can do to build a relationship with the patient that is long-term for life, even if it's never seen. Most of the dentists I work with never even think about that. They're like, Bob, look, I just want reviews. I want to automate the process. I want billions of reviews, and I want it to happen with no effort. Well, it doesn't work like that. You cannot automate referrals, and you cannot automate reviews. And Howard, I have done this long enough to know if you try to automate referrals and automate reviews, you're going to come away with nothing. And it only takes a little effort. It takes a conscientious effort to get a review and a referral. Now, let's talk about Google reviews. And if you don't mind, Howard, I want to just role play with you. And we've sent out over 1 million review requests just on behalf of dentists. We have people with over 800 Google reviews, and quite frankly, number 801 means nothing to them. They're using our system for the referrals, not the reviews. But I bring these guys up because they know how to get Google reviews and Yelp reviews. So what I want to do with you, Howard, is I just want to role play with you, and I want to show you what we found to be the single most effective way to get Google and Yelp reviews. And I'm going to ask you in such a way, Howard, and I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to tell me when I'm finished, did I sound pushy or did I sound needy? I don't want to sound either of those two things. And let's just role play and let me know when we're finished how it came across. You ready?
I'm ready.
So you're about to get up off the chair. I can start the conversation however I want. So I'm just going to start like this. Hey, Howard, before you go, can I ask you a favor, please?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Later today or tonight or whenever it's convenient for you, would you take just a couple of minutes to write a review for us on Google? And Howard, the reason I'm asking is when you do, it helps other people learn about my practice. Would you do that for me, please?
I would.
Howard, thanks. What I'd like to do before you go is ask Julie up front if she'll send you a text or an email with a link in it to where you can write a review. And Howard, I want you to know I'm really looking forward to reading your comments. Thank you. Now, let me stop and ask you, did I come across as pushy to you?
No.
How about needy? Howard, I really need you to do this, man.
No.
No, no. And let me ask you, now this isn't me making this up, by the way. We have people getting 20 Google reviews a week. I mean, week in, week out, a week, and it's unbelievable. And when I contact these people and I say to them, look, you're using the exact same system that so-and-so is using. They've gotten one review in a month. What are you doing differently? Well, they tell me exactly what they're doing, and this is how they're asking people to write a review. And if you don't mind, I want to debrief this, and I want to show the psychology of a review request, because I don't think there's anything more important in this interview than your folks walking away going, oh my God, I never thought of that. So here's the thing. You know this patient is happy, so this is the one we're going to ask. And you can start the conversation any way you want. I just happened to start by saying, hey, Howard, can I ask you a favor? You said sure. So here's what I did. Now, what you do not want to do, because I represent this half of the population. Half of the population absolutely has no problem writing a review while they're in your office. Now, I would never ask someone to write a review while they're in my office for tons of different reasons. And most dentists understand if they write a Google review from a computer in their office, it's going to get filtered anyway because of the IP address rule. But this is something a lot of dentists don't think about. Half of the population is happy to write a review while they're there. The other half, like me, I'm not a good speller. I do not want to write a review while I am sitting in your presence, even if you walk out of the room, because I find that intimidating. Now, here's the thing. I might write that review for you because you asked me to do it. I'm doing it under duress. You might get a 5-star review, but let me tell you what else is going to happen. I am not going to refer you to my family and friends, because even though I love you and the dental work you did, I'm not going to put my friends through that because I find it massively intimidating. A lot of people never think of that. Now, this is why I think it's smart to say later today or tonight or whenever it's convenient for you. So what I've just done is I've let you off the hook, so now you're like, well, he's not going to expect me to do it now. So later today or tonight or wherever it's convenient, would you mind taking just a couple of minutes? Now notice how I am very specific about Google, to write a review for us on Google. Now I didn't pause there, Howard. I told you why I was asking, and it's a very legitimate reason. The reason I'm asking is when you do, it helps other people learn about our business. Would you do that for me? Now notice how that was very personal. Would you do that for me? And you, Howard, like everyone else, says, Bob, sure, I'm happy to do that. Now, here's the next and the single most important thing, Howard, you've got to do if you want people to write reviews. Now, everybody else that has a system like ours, they fully understand this. They all get it because they all have the data that proves this. The next 3 words out of my mouth when you said, yes, I'll do that, Bob, were these: before you go. Before you go, I'd like to ask Julie up front if she'll send you a text or an email with a link in it to where you can leave a review. And Howard, I want you to know I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Now, when you say to someone, I'm looking forward to reading your comments, they are 20% more likely to write a review just because they know you're looking forward to it. I think when you say that to somebody, there's a little trigger that goes off in their head and it's like, uh-oh, Howard's looking for it. I don't want to let him down. But let's go back. The 3 single most important words if you want Google reviews are before you go. Now, here's the thing, Howard. You know, we just have a system. It just works really well. You can send a request to someone by text or email or both. And there's a lot of systems that do this. You can create your own. You can send an email out on your own with a link to Google and Yelp. Oh, and by the way, this is Memorial Day 2016. If you are sending links to your Google customers, as of today, you have to have 2 links. I just want to make this warning up front because one link will work for desktop users and another link will work on mobile users. Now, if you think you have a link that works on a mobile phone on your desktop or that you're sending out, check it, because one of 2 things is happening. Either it doesn't work or it's pre-filling the stars on Google with either 1, 2, or 3 stars. And that is horrible. So you got to make sure you've got the right 2 links. Now, people that use our system on mobile, we can detect what system they're on. It's a desktop or mobile. And if they are on mobile, we automatically pre-fill the Google stars with 5 stars. Now, I'm not a fan of doing that because I don't think Google should pre-fill stars at all, but that's what they do. But here's the point I want to make. When you send a review request to somebody, you absolutely have to do it while they are physically in your presence. Now, it doesn't have to be the dentist doing it. It can be the ladies up front. It can be your assistant when you turn your back. But here's what we know. If that patient walks out the door, they are four times less likely to write a review than if they are standing right there with you and engaged with you when you're sending the request. 4 times. Now, quick story, Howard. It's been about 2 months. We had a dental office in Florida, purchased our system. They were all excited. And I made this huge point about, this is how you ask and this is how you send. If you don't send it while they're in front of you, they will not respond. Well, 3 days went by and I got a call from the office manager. And she said, hey, Bob, look at my dashboard. We sent out 20 review requests to 20 of our very best customers, and only one of them responded. So I took a look at their dashboard, and I could see that they sent these out in sequence. And there was no way these people were in front of them. And I said, I can tell you just sent them out one after the other. Were any of these people physically in your presence when you sent them? She goes, no, they weren't. And I said, do you remember us talking about how critically important it is? She goes, yeah, but I just can't believe that's true. And I said, okay, do me this favor. How many more patients do you expect to see today? And she said 8. I said, okay. Today, and only today, I want you to send the request while you're in the physical presence of those 8 people. And tomorrow or the next day, let's look and see what happened. Well, she did it. And I asked her, I said, hey, are any of these people what you would consider to be your best patients? And she said, no, not really. They're not the top 20. And I said, well, let's see what happens. Well, 2 days went by, Howard, and of those 8 that she asked, 6 of those people wrote a review. 6. Now, this is one of the things I could hammer home on this day in and day out. If you want Google reviews, ask people to go to Google. If you want Yelp reviews, ask people to go to Google. If you want Google or Yelp reviews, you absolutely have to send the review request. Whether you use a system like ours or another system, or you're doing it on your own, you have to send it to that person while they are physically engaged with you. And that's a 15-second conversation. So that's what I have to say about that, Howard.
You know what? I feel embarrassed, Bob. We started this podcast, and I started with my whale story. I got my sidetracked on the whales. I didn't even tell my homies who I'm talking to. So this is Bob Sommers, creator of the 5-star systems on bestlocalreviews.com. He's owner of the largest customer service training in the country in the 1990s, Sommers Communications. He's been a professional speaker for 20 years, host of LikeabilityGuide.com blog, host of the Recognized Expert Marketing Show podcast in 2003, fired from his first job, never to return, as a mechanical engineer, lives on Maui with wife Susan and 2 adult boys, Josh and Joel. Bob, where should my homies go to learn more about you? I see there's bestlocalreviews.com, there's 5starreviewsystems.com, there's Bob Sommers. By the way, that's B-O-B. Did I spell that backwards or forward? B-O-B.
As long as there's only Sommers, one O in there, Howard.
SOMMERS.com. Which website should they go and to do?
Okay, well,
and what is your program? This is Dentistry Uncensored. So, what website they go to? What does this cost? Why do my homies like you on Dental Town? Tell them.
Okay, so the site I would go to if you're interested in getting Google and Yelp reviews and generating referrals, go to 5starreviewsystem.com. So that'll tell you all about how the 5-star review system works, how we separate people that don't want to give you 5 stars from those that do, how easy we make it for your patients to go to Google and Yelp, Health Grades, Vitals, RateMD, Wellness, all of those sites, Facebook if you choose to go there to write reviews for you, and how to generate referrals from your happy patients. 5starreviewsystem.com. Now, Howard, we host our tool, the 5starreviewsystem.com, on a site called bestlocalreviews.com, because it would look kind of ridiculous if your patients went to 5starreviewsystem.com to leave you a review. It looks a little misleading. So 5starreviewsystem.com is where you can go. The cost of our system, it's for most dentists, the least expensive service is $99 a month. There's a $99 one-time startup setup training fee where we set up your whole system. We spend 50 minutes showing you how to use it, how to ask for reviews, how to generate it. We work on karma, Howard, which means this: we don't have any long-term agreements. If you're not using the system properly, you're not going to get the same results of everybody else. We don't want you paying for something if it's not working for you.
And
So
how long have you been doing this for dentists?
well, we do it for a lot of people, but we've been doing it for dentists since late 2012, and we've got maybe 1,000 dentists that use our service all over the world.
So been doing 1,000 dentists since for the last 4 years.
Oh no, we've accumulated. We're up to 1,000
Right.
dentists now, but
for
we've been doing
4 years,
it for 4 years. Oh
4 years. My job is to ask questions my homies might be thinking. If you think what they're thinking, I know the first thing they're going to be thinking is, Bob, this is something you need if you're in LA, San Fran, Manhattan. I'm in Salina, Kansas.
Yeah.
How would you answer that?
I would say go wherever you would go to find a dentist, whether it's your Android, your iPhone, Google, Yelp, Yahoo, go wherever you would go to find a dentist and do a typical search, dentist, best dentist, and look at what comes up. If you're not coming up with the best reputation everywhere someone looks for you, you need what we have. And that is the ability to make it easy for your happy customers to brag about you publicly. It does not matter where you are. Now, here's another thing, Howard, that a lot of people are not aware of. Let's talk about Google. You know, people spend tons of money on search engine optimization on Google, making a beautiful website. Nothing wrong with that. But I guarantee you there is nothing more powerful or more persuasive than people bragging about you publicly everywhere. I would way rather have that than I would a beautiful website or have my website listed high in the search engines. And it's not me, that's just how I feel. I would ask you, no matter where you're located, do a search for a dentist and see what comes up. And if you see somebody that's where you need to be, odds are they have more reviews, better reviews, they're higher up in the ranking. And by the way, reviews will help you with your ranking on all of the review sites. And again, Howard, I would say, I don't know, 20-25% of our customers are in big cities, 20-25% are in real rural areas, and 50% are in the medium-sized towns.
Whenever I ask a patient, they'll leave me a review. They always say, "Dude, if you were on Tinder, I'd swipe left." Right. Well, I don't even know what that means, Ryan. What are they saying that for? So their walnut brain is mainly concerned. I just want more new patients, and it might be redundant, but how does this translate into these dentists getting more new patients in the door?
Okay, so let's take a look at just that. First of all, I want to talk about converting a fan into a raving fan, and this is a big deal. I mentioned earlier when someone writes a 5-star review for you, they're a fan. Now, I'm going to give you a free tip. It costs nothing for this. You don't need my system or any system to do this. This is the quickest way to turn a fan into a raving fan. The moment you see someone write a 5-star review for you, a testimonial, it doesn't matter. Within 30 minutes, I encourage you or someone on your staff to pick up the phone, to call that patient, and to make a 15-second phone call that sounds like this. "Hey, Howard, this is Bob Sommers over at the dentist office, and the reason I'm calling is we just saw your awesome review show up on Google. I didn't want another minute to go by without telling you how much we appreciate not only you, but you taking the time to say something so kind." When you make that 15-second phone call, Howard, here's how every patient is going to respond every single time. "Oh my God, I just wrote that. I meant everything I said. You guys are the best. I'm going to tell everyone I know about you." Now, that is the simplest way to generate new business. You're creating a raving fan from a fan. Here's the other thing. There are tons of people. You can look up, I'll give you an example. If you looked up Dentist Orlando, there are 700 dentists in Orlando. The highest rated, most reviewed dentist, and probably now all of Florida, is Dr. Tajumide St. Matthew Daniel. She's in Central Florida, 700 dentists. She's not anywhere near downtown Orlando yet. Her reviews are so powerful. She's getting them consistently. She's getting them on sites other than Google. By the way, these are ranking factors. She's got more reviews than most people. She's got better reviews than most people. And because of that, Google has put her at the very top of the map section. And she's been there for almost 2 years. Now, she's told me that she's getting up to 10 calls a day from new patients based strictly on her ranking on Google. Now, that's Orlando. If you're in Macon, Georgia, it could be 1 or 2 new calls a day. By the way, that's a pretty big deal when it costs you nothing. And here's the other thing. When you have the best reputation on these sites, people aren't calling saying, hey, I need to see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. They're saying, hey, is Dr. Smith still seeing patients? I see he's got this awesome reputation. I just want to make sure he's still seeing new people. So not only does it generate a lot of enthusiasm, it makes you more visible, and there's just tons of things. But more importantly, Howard, remember earlier I told you we have a customer with 800 plus Google reviews, and they could care less about the Google reviews, because once you have 800, what's 801? I mean, it's nothing. They use our system for the referral tool. So as long as you ask a patient before you send a request, hey, Howard, if it's okay, I'd like to send along a flyer about our practice, and ask if you wouldn't mind sharing it with your family and friends. May I do that? As soon as you say yes, from a drop-down menu, I select flyer or coupon, whatever. After the patient writes a review, they're going to get your flyer with a request to share it with their family and friends. Now, they can click on the Facebook button and tell 200 people how awesome you are, just like that. That is a way better referral tool than waiting for that patient to be in the physical presence of someone and having a conversation about a dental thing. We send it right after they write the review. They're top of mind. We make it super easy for them to share. And we have people that are like, I could care less about the reviews. I already dominate every site. I love the referrals. Now, again, the best way to get someone to share that flyer is to call them right after they write the review, because that's the same time they get the flyer, and thank them for writing that review, because on their own they're going to just send that baby along. So these are some of the reasons, if you're a dentist or in any other business, this is why people buy our service. And as I mentioned, if you're not using it right, you're not going to get these results. So just call us and go, turn it off. We'll turn it off. But I got to tell you, Howard, the vast majority of the people that use our system, they're addicted to it. They're like, oh my God, this is the best marketing tool I've ever had.
But you said they call you. Can my homies call you?
Sure.
What number is that?
808-891-0449. 808-891-0449. So
and
we're here in Hawaii.
And the website is spelled out, FIVE, starreviewsystem.com.
That's correct. 5starreviewsystem.com.
But see, most dentists are listening to think the best way to increase your search engine optimization. There's this dentist named Walter Palmer who went over and shot Cecil the Lion, and he got more more social media. He got more reviews on his website than any of your customers. So do you think it'd be better just to go, how do you one up shooting Cecil the Lion?
Well, I think I might go to Phoenix and shoot a 600-pound gorilla. What do you think? I don't know. Cecil the Lion.
Did you read the reviews on his dental website?
I did not.
Oh my God, his name's Walter Palmer. I think they had to shut down the review site. I mean, it was going. I mean, they were leaving hundreds a minute.
Wow.
I mean, it was crazy. But
man.
Yeah. So so this is Dentistry Uncensored. Get to the nitty gritty. What should they do? They call you 808-891-0449 or go to 5starreviewsystem.com. How much does this cost? How does it get started? Do I have to get involved? Can my office manager or dental assistant do all this? Mm-hmm. You said that you have to watch a training video.
So here's how it works, Howard.
Yeah, go into the details of implementation.
So here's how it works. First of all, we don't sell it to everybody. We have to turn down about 1 in every 8 dentists that want our system. And here's why. If you don't already have a good reputation, we're not going to sell you the system, because somebody could use it to manipulate search results and everything else. So if you don't already have a good reputation, please don't bother calling. There's lots of other services. Number 2 and 3, you got to provide great service. You have to be willing to ask your patient to write a review, and you have to be willing to send a request to them while they're in your presence. Now, we have about a couple of hundred dentists who have demand force, maybe 200 that use Lighthouse, another 100 that use Yappy. All of these other services are great. They're wonderful at scheduling. But if you're using a service like that, they get you in a really bad habit. They don't require that you ask someone to write a review, and they send the review request out automatically. So if you're using one of those scheduling services and you're wondering, like, how come I'm not getting 20 Google reviews a week? And by the way, that's a super high number. Why am I not getting 5 or 6 Google reviews a week? Well, it's because you're not asking and you're not sending it out while they're in your presence. So if you're willing to do those 3 things, provide great service, ask, and send. That's the first step. Number 2, give me a call here and let's see if it's a good fit for your office. It's not for everybody. 808-891-0449, or go to 5starreviewsystem.com and watch our little video. The next thing we do, Howard, is if we feel it's a good match, and the dentist does too, we set up a free demo account for them, which means we set up the entire system. We do all of that work, and then we schedule a 50-minute program. And over that time, and this is before you even buy the system, so we show you how the system works, but more importantly, we show you how to ask and how to send.
Is
Now,
that a video or a Skype or?
no, we do it live. What we do is and this may sound like old technology, but this is why we do it this way. I'm on a speakerphone and I have you on the system with your staff, and you're literally typing the review request right there with me talking to you. It's way better, I found, doing it that way than using GoToMeeting or Skype, because you're actively using the system. At that point, and again, I always encourage the dentist, the office manager, and anyone who's going to be involved in asking or sending to do this. Howard, here's something else we know. We know statistically, if the dentist or hygienist, the one that actually provides the service, if you guys are the one that asks for the review, the likelihood of a patient writing a review is 3 times greater. 3 times greater, and it has nothing to do with our system, your system. It has to do with the fact that we want to write a review for the person that provided the service. Now, there are dentists that are like, Bob, I'm not going to ask for a review. Well, you know what? Then have somebody else do it on your behalf.
But why do you think that is? Why do you think they're like that?
I want you to imagine, Howard, you and I just did this show together. We really had a great time. And I said, Howard, hang on. I'm going to have my assistant come on and ask you something. And my assistant comes on and says, hey, Howard, would you do us a favor and just, write a little review about what just happened? You're like, well, why did he do that? You would much rather it were me that asked. We want to reward the person that provided the service. We do not want to reward their surrogate. We don't take them anywhere near as seriously. Now, if it's an orthodontist office, it's a little different environment, because oftentimes the ladies up front have a better relationship with the parent, the one that's going to be writing the review, than the orthodontist does. But in a dental office, oh my gosh, it is way better if the dentist or the hygienist does. And this is one other thing I want to mention. If you've never asked a patient to write a review for you on Google, most dentists are like, I'm a little uncomfortable with it. I'm a doctor. It's just not what I'm about. The first time you ask and a patient goes, oh my God, I'd love to do it. I love you. This is the best. You're like, wow, that was a very pleasant conversation.
I used to see it in dental school. You'd go out on a Friday night to a bar, and these were all American boys. And they could have married any one of my 5 sisters, and they're just stellar human people. And they couldn't even ask a girl to dance.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is she going to do? She's not going to pepper spray you. She's not going to shoot you. I mean, the worst case scenario is no, and they would just freeze the whole night.
Yeah.
I mean,
Howard, like you've
so
never been
overwhelming.
pepper sprayed before. Give me a break.
At 53, my eyes are now immune to pepper spray. And I've evolved through it. Oh, you opened up another can of worms. You talked about specialists. So there's 9 specialists.
Right.
Is reviews more of a thing for general dentists, or what about the 9 specialties? What I know we got fans of the show that are oral surgeons, pediatric dentists, orthodontists, endodontists, periodontists, prosthodontists. What would you say to those guys?
I would say the review sites change based on what you do. If you're a general dentist in the United States, it's Google and Yelp, hands down. If you are a general dentist in Canada, it's going to be Google, RateMDs, and Yelp. Now, if you are a specialist, Yes, you wanted to dominate Google and Yelp, but here's the sites that are way more important to you. You need to do a search for your name and need to see what comes up. And generally, what's going to come up, if not Google and Yelp, you're going to see health grades, vitals, RateMDs, and wellness.com. And you're going to want to look in order which of those sites are coming up first, second, third, and fourth. And if one of those sites has a mediocre reputation, like you have a 3.8 on health grades, you need to get that 3.8 up to a 4.8. That would be the first thing I would do. So if you are a specialist, you're going to do a search for your name, and those are the sites that are going to be most important for you. Very different from a general dentist. If you're an orthodontist, it's very similar to a general dentist, Google and Yelp. Again, unless you're in Canada, then RateMDs is a big deal. That's a great question, Howard, and not enough people ask me that. But when we're on the phone with folks and figuring this out, that's what we cover.
So the Canadians have a RateMD and they haven't shared it with their hillbilly neighbors down in the basement?
Right. Well, we have it too. It's just not as big of a deal here in the basement.
I heard Canada has already started construction on a wall just in case Trump wins, and they're not going to let anybody. They're not going to let anybody up there anymore.
Okay.
So I really think the point is well taken that the dentist has got to ask for this. And when dentists tell me they don't like to sell dentistry, I was thinking, boy, that's something wrong. I mean, these people, I mean, they're so happy when you do a smile makeover. They're so happy when you fix a denture that won't fit. They're so happy when you get out of pain. I mean, you feel like a fireman and a policeman all rolled into one. And then the guy turns around and says, "But I don't want to sell dentistry. I don't want to. I don't. You know, it's like why? I mean, these people are passionate, and you're their hero, and you know, it's just what do you think that is?"
I want to reframe that, Howard. You know, I was telling you earlier that I have a blog that's my hobby blog. It's called likabilityguy.com or bobsommers.com. And I write about likability. I'm fascinated with what makes people likable. And it's never what you think it is. We like people who, for example, we help. Now, that is exactly the opposite of what a lot of people think. We think we like people who help us, but that's not true. Oftentimes, people pleasers go out of their way to help someone thinking they're going to like them in return, and that's not the case. We like the people we help. Now, if you ask someone to write a review for you, and they realize they are helping you by writing that review, and they like you more by the mere process they have written that review for you. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you're having a hard time asking people to do you little favors, you have no idea what the benefit is to you and to them for them writing favors for you. Go to bobsommers.com and read my stuff on likability, the psychology of what makes people likable. You know, it is fascinating to me that people just don't get it. But when you ask someone to do a small favor for you and they do, they like you more. They trust you more. They believe in you more. So if you ask someone as a dentist something as simple as writing a review, first of all, you're going to be shocked and delighted at how excited they are to do it. And you're going to be delighted at how they feel about themselves when they wrote that review for you and you thank them for doing so. It's an amazing dynamic. And I went to engineering school, Howard. I had the same issue. All of these engineers, they couldn't ask girls to dance. I'm like, oh my God, you're missing the point. You know, you're just missing the point. Anyway, enough of that, but that's my take on that.
Who has less of a personality, an engineer, an accountant, or a dentist?
Well, after working with dentists for some time, I still have to tell you it's engineers. We still wear pockets. Oh, they're horrible. Oh my God, they're horrible.
Well, what I'm most proud of dentists and engineers is that you know we have an annual meeting every year in Vegas in about April, and this year will be our 15th annual meeting. And Vegas is very anti dentists and engineers, and you can only get a casino if they think they're not going to sell it, because basically we don't throw our money away, we don't gamble. And they have. I mean, I've seen that list. I mean, we spend tons of money running an entire floor, and they have the list. And right on the top of that list is like bowlers and bull riders. And at the bottom of that list, every list I've seen, it's either dentists or engineers, rock bottom.
God.
And I'm just so proud because my homies just aren't going to go throw $1,000 on a blackjack
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
My homies realize those casinos are made from losses, not gains.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Yeah.
want to ask you selfish. I got a selfish question for you.
Go
So
ahead.
my main mission was that when I saw the internet come out in 1998, I said my guys are professionally isolated. They're professionally lonely. And I saw that internet and I said, with dentaltown.com, no dentist will ever have to practice solo again. And
Yep.
we've signed up 1,000 people a month ever since. We're,
Amazing.
we're at 215. Um, does
Wow.
is there a review for the dentaltown.com website or app, or I mean, would that
Wow.
because there's 2 million dentists around the world. When people say, "God, I can't believe you got 215,000 dentists," I go,
Yeah.
"That's horrible." I don't have 90% of all the dentists. I mean, I
Yeah.
basically am missing, Africa, China, and me and Ryan, we go lecture in those deals, and
Right.
and we have raving fans. But would that affect people finding the Dentaltown app or the Dentaltown website, or is this more a B2C thing?
Yeah, I would say not. I mean,
So is there
I would
even a
ask you, who's
yeah?
the second biggest site like yours, Howard? There is no second biggest, is there?
Well, that would actually it was dentalporn.com. If you search my name,
Oh no, I'm a big
if if
fan of
if you,
dental
if,
porn.
if you type in Phoenix dentist, I don't come up. But if you type in Phoenix porn star, I'm right there at the top
There you
from
go.
dental porn. No, I'm just kidding. But so these reviews are more B2C
Yeah,
sites. So
they
there's
they
no
are.
so there would there even be a place to leave a review for dentaltown.com or on iTunes for the app or
Well, I if there's an app on iTunes, you could do it there, and that's a great idea. And it's not a
but
bad idea.
how would that help writing a review? I mean on iTunes for the app.
Well, I'm not really a big iTunes review person, but my understanding is the more reviews you have, the better the reviews you have, the higher you move up in the iTunes ranking. So asking your viewers to review the app on iTunes is probably a very, very good idea.
Okay, guys,
There
listen to
you go.
this. My homies. Oh, App Store, not iTunes, but App Store. Okay, go to homies, please, 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 go to the App Store and write us a great review for the Dentaltown app. Because when I walked out of school in '87, if you told me someday, because remember I got out of school in '87, I think I was. What year did Star Wars come out? I'm thinking that might have been what? When was Star Wars one? Was that like 1980?
Uh,
But if you would have
Probably.
told me that someday I'd have a battery powered device with 215,000 dentists in my pocket, I would have thought that was like a lightsaber. I would just would have, and I was so professionally isolated. Only so many nights I would be, cringing, thinking, "Gosh, should I have pulled it? Should I have given antibiotics?" I pinned the, and everybody that loved me, if I talked to my dad, he'd say a rosary. If I talked to my mom, she'd say a novena. My sisters would say a prayer to Saint Anthony. And it's like I didn't lose a tooth, uh, and and nobody could help me. And then when I saw my 9-year-old going to a chat room talking about skateboard wheels, I almost
Wow.
fell out of the chair and said, "Forget skateboard
Wow.
wheels for 9-year-olds. I need to know about root canals, fillings,
Right,
nails."
right.
So that's been my mission, and so many people, it's really changed your life. So if you're listening to this podcast, I mean, Dental Town might be just whatever to you, but for a lot of people, it means so much because it's the only place they can go to ask a question. And the biggest complaint of Dental Town is the anonymous people. And I just want to be clear that nobody's anonymous to me. I mean, every person that register has to be approved. So when you register to get on Dental Town, you don't have access to anything till we verify who you are. But once I know who you are, I let you be anonymous because it was Rella Christian and Gordon Christian told me if you make them say their names, they're not going to sit there and post a bad X-ray with a problem. There has to be a place to ask a stupid question. There has to be a place to post a failed root canal, a failed case, and so yeah, so the App Store writing a review would help get more people to Dentaltown
I would think so.
and Google Play Store. But okay, Bob. So do my is there any promos or anything for my homies or any?
Yeah, there is, Howard. So
It's the bald fat brother grandpa discount.
there you go. That's exactly what it is. So here's the deal. If you tell me when you call that you heard about the program with our interview here today, Howard, we'll reduce that $99 one-time setup fee by $50, and it'll only be a $49 setup fee, which remember includes the setup, the training, unlimited access to us. So we're happy to do that. Again, just tell us you heard about it on the show.
And remember, if anybody writes Brad Pitt, that's a common confusion they have with me.
I can see that.
Yeah. So a lot of times people meant to say Howard Farran, but they write Batman or Brad Pitt. So that's awesome. And also another thing you can do is go you answer all these questions on talk about Dental Town. You've posted so many hundreds of times on Dental Town.
Oh, I love it. It's the marketing section, Howard, is fascinating. You have some dentists that are phenomenal marketing people. I mean, you would think they're professional marketers in lieu of dentists. I learn from them. I love reading and commenting on it. I see a lot of dentists, because Google and Yelp are big deals, that need the kind of help we offer. So it's great to be able to share there as well. But I am really impressed with the quality of people in the marketing arena that are on Dental Town. I mean, I'm just massively impressed.
The term I hate the most is the United States of America, because no one would say Europe. No one compares Germany to Greece. No one compares Denmark to Portugal. And when you talk about like the United States, it's a dozen different countries flying under one flag. I mean, I still hear dentists in Georgia and Texas and Kansas that think those guys out there doing all that are ruining the profession. And then you go to some bigger markets like San Fran and LA and New York or Manhattan, and it's just, it's so marketing is still one of those regional plays where some people think it's the Antichrist and ruining the they say. I had an old dentist in Georgia say to me, well, if you had prostate cancer, would you go to the yellow pages? And I wanted to say, dude, they don't even have yellow pages anymore.
Right.
But so marketing is still, but that's great. So you like the information on Dental Town.
I love it. And just by the way, if I had prostate cancer, would I go to Google? You bet I would. I absolutely would go and want to see. I'd go to Health Grades Vitals Rate MD. And if I wanted to learn what dentists want to know, I'd go to Dental Town. I'm on it all the time. I just love it. So thanks for making that resource available, Howard. It's awesome.
And I wouldn't even care if I had prostate cancer, because with my new Obamacare plan, it covers castrations at 100%. So I'd be fixed up in no time.
Hey, you can only do that once, man. So
Hey, Bob, it's Memorial Day. Thank you so much for spending an hour with me on Memorial Day. What are you gonna do the rest of the day in Maui?
it's barbecue time right now, Howard. Family and barbecue, man.
So I think 4 of the times it's been in Maui. A couple of times I've lectured in Waikiki, which is Honolulu, Oahu, and then one time did you go, we all went to Hawaii. Yeah, it was, what side were we on? Were we on the dry side or the what's? We were on the Big Island.
Right.
Kona is the coffee side. Yeah, we were on one side of it for sure. I'm not sure, but the coolest thing about that Big Island deal is we signed up on this bus trip around the island.
Right.
And the funniest thing about that bus trip, not only was it beautiful, how long did it last, Ryan? Like all day? 10, 12 hours. Not only was it just like being on, Gilligan's Island and just having the time of our life, but that trip is dry. I mean, you get in the bus and there'd be no bars or restaurants, all this. And at least 20% of the bus had a complete mental breakdown that they were not going to be able to drink any alcohol or beer. And at each stop, they keep asking. And I was just sitting there thinking about when you're talking about the reviews, how important that would be, because maybe that's why people read more reviews, things like that. Because maybe you would think if you're on a tropical vacation and, there'd be alcohol or whatever. And
there you go. And Howard, this is why bus tour companies no longer allow dentists or engineers, just so you know.
All right, buddy. Happy Memorial Day to you.
Same to you, Howard. Thanks a million.
Thank you, Ryan, for working on Memorial Day. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.